All right. So, hello and welcome to the RPG Academy podcast Twitch channel. My name is Michael. We are here tonight for session 3 of Shadows Spawns or Shadow Spawns. We are yet to see which one of that is correct. With me tonight, as always, are my 3 lovely players, Lisa Lee, Lisa, my mind went blank there, Caleb, and Brad. Before I get to them, though, I want to start off by saying that we are now at 496 followers because we gained 2 last time. And about 5 years ago, when we actually started these channels, we had said that when we got to 500 followers, we would do a giveaway. And this is what we said we would give away because at the time, this was actually kind of a big deal. This is the D&D Rules Cyclopedia, the print-on-demand version through DriveThruRPG, which is a book that I had the original version of. I grew up playing this game. I loved it. I had this in college. I got rid of it like a moron. And when I saw there was a print-on-demand version, I was like, oh, I want one of those. So I just thought it would be a cool thing. So if we get 4 more followers ever, maybe tonight would be great, but just ever, then we're going to pick one of those 500 followers to get a copy of this sent to them through drive-thru. So just need 4 more. If any of anybody who's watching tonight would like to join us, that would be fantastic. Okay, so with that out of the way, Lisa, go ahead and say hello to everybody and tell us, or kind of remind us who you are playing.
Hello, everybody. I'm Lisa Lee, and I'm playing Daria Irthos. She's a half elf, and she's a river guide, and she's out in the desert with this new friend and a friend she's had, and a cheeky animal companion of his, and she seems to affect the things around her with her emotions. She's not quite sure how that works.
Alrighty. So I want to take a moment here. We're going to slow things down a little bit at the start and ask a question to each of the characters. So I'll start with you. So in this world that we have created, our version of the 13th Age world, druid magic exists, but it's a little bit more uncommon than maybe in like the quote unquote standard setting. So the fact that you are a druid and have druid abilities is probably something that was confusing to you. And part of that, your backstory is that you left home as part of this confusion. Things were happening, you couldn't understand them. So you sort of left home to sort of find your way. But we haven't really talked much about where you were from. Was there anybody from your home village that you were particularly close with, like a sibling or like a best friend, somebody that maybe you have seen since you left or you would like to see again, someone you're in contact with? So tell us a little bit about somebody that maybe was in your hometown that someday you'd like to reconnect with.
I had a best friend.
Okay, nice. BFF forevers or BF forever?
School. I had a BFF from school, and he and I ran around together. I thought I was a ranger. I was a river guide, and I was all the ranger guild. So when I couldn't do things well, or in school when things would be weird, if I got really bad grades on a test, and all of a sudden all the windows cracked, he would help me out. He kind of helped me out.
All right, and so I'm sorry, what was the name of your best friend?
Well, this file isn't opening, so
I think it was Willen, right? Willen.
Yes, Willen.
Willen. All right, and
he's a half orc.
Yeah, have you talked to Willen since you left? Have you seen them?
I have not. I've not at all, actually. He's a half orc. He's the son of a local tavern keeper. And we grew up together. I was always a little taller than he was, so we'd razz him a little bit. And then until this past summer, he finally could look down at me and his tusks started growing in, and he wouldn't get quite such smack talk from folks anymore. Nice. I haven't talked to him. Yeah.
So they had to grow into their tusks. Okay. Thank you. And then thank you to Fire M for following. So now we're only 3 away from our 500 goal. All right, so then we'll move on to Caleb, who's playing Rio. So Caleb, say hello to everyone. Tell us a little bit about your character.
Hey, everybody. So I am playing Rio Baymont. He is a human wizard. He is a librarian. He is
Caleb, who's
an
playing
adventurer.
Oh,
And there is another voice in the chat.
a really
It's
annoying one.
Halloween.
Oh, wait, that was me. Damn it.
Yeah, I'm a wizard. I'm a librarian. I am a dungeon delving research adventurer.
Alrighty. So when we were coming up with your character, it's fair to say that Indiana Jones was certainly in that conversation. It was an inspiration. So is there a Sala to your Rio? Someone out there that you've gone on adventures with, you can count on as a friend, as a resource if you need to?
Man, it's like you knew exactly what I was gonna say. Like I emailed it to you or something.
Shh, it's behind the curtain stuff.
Oh, sorry. Inside baseball.
Yeah.
Inside baseball. Yeah, so the Sala to my indie is Thackeray. Thackeray is my adventuring buddy. We palled around for a while. Rio actually found him out in the wilds. Thackeray had a really intense experience that he went through, and he's really not even at a point where he understands it and can talk about it. As far as I understand it, he abandoned his home for what he feels is a good reason, but it's really, really traumatic, and I've learned not to push him on it. He is currently my partner back on site at the library. He's a library curator, which on a very surface level means he does take care of the artifacts that we have found and cataloged and stored, but that also means he is the muscle for when some of those artifacts get a little rowdy, because the library is not just a library, it's also a bit of a prison.
Aha. Okay. All right. And then we will go to Brad. So, Brad, say hello, everyone. Tell them a little bit about the character you are playing.
Hello, everybody. How are you on this great cold evening? I am playing Saladin Dark. He goes by the name, or goes by Saul. He is a high elf sorcerer, and at one time was the arcane champion of the Great Golden Worm. No longer.
So, your character presents some interesting problems. Based on the character concept we have for you, your memories cannot truly be trusted. And you also have these just big blank spots in your memory. You don't really remember a lot about your past. But is there a particular memory that you have? Like, what is your current most? No, so rephrase that. What is in our current timeline the oldest memory you have that you feel you can trust? So this could be post whatever happened to you, and it's just the first memory of like your reawakening, or it could be a memory from beyond that, but you still feel like you can trust it.
So what is the oldest memory that Saul can truly trust?
Yes.
If I understand correctly. I would say it was the first time that he channeled fire. He remembers it very well. It as most things go for Saul and those around him, they tend not to go well. The reason it was so memorable is because it burned down a house, unfortunately. Yeah, I know. It's not good. He was younger elf, high elf, so probably in his early 30s at that time. So that what I would equate that to young human child. I don't know how that works in 13th age.
Me neither. So it works however we need it to work. So yes.
Sounds great. So he was a young child, and he had gotten in a fight with another elven child, and he got really angry and things got out of hand, and he inadvertently shot a gout of fire out of his hand and burned a house down.
So this is definitely a
So,
pre-incident memory, but it's also one that
right.
you believe is true. It is your memory and not someone else's.
He believes that to be true.
Okay, so all right.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you all for playing my little reindeer games there. So just sort of a way of a quick recap from last time. The three of you descended back into the depths of this ancient city that is being basically dug up like an archaeological style dig, but it's obviously it's a weird situation because it's a fantasy RPG. It's an entire city that is almost immaculately preserved, but it is somehow buried deep beneath the earth. It is from what we would call in this game from many ages ago to the point that no one in current time has any true memory of it. Though oddly, Saul had some specific memories of the temple you were in at the time. In your continued explorations last time we played, you found your way into these catacombs. You use a key of some sort that you had found earlier. It unlocked a chamber, and at that point, you were basically attacked by an ettercap that was phasing in and out of your reality with the use of a phase spider companion. You were then attacked by some other regular spiders as the phase spider and the ettercap took your key and then disappeared. You managed to survive. You made your way back out, and then you basically came upon a campsite that was just in chaos through jubilation. The vast majority of the workers on this dig site are dwarves, and they were celebrating. And after a few moments, it came around that apparently the Dwarven King had finally captured the Prince of Shadows and had executed him. So all the dwarves were in celebration over their king finally fulfilling this, oath that he had made that he would someday do. He had promised a king's ransom to anyone that brought him the Prince of Shadows. So as of yet, you don't know if someone earned this reward or not. But a couple other things that have happened that were kind of lost in this revelry. So we're going to jump forward about 10 days from the time when you found out this information. We're going to do a little quick recap of what each of you have done in those 10 days. But one of the things that you have since learned as well, that a pretty significant portion of the workers disappeared that same day. Just gone. No traces, just gone. So in any case where someone disappeared, it was the entire group. So there wasn't like one person that was like, hey, this crazy thing happened, and 5 of my buddies all got killed. Just various individuals and various groups in their totality just disappeared completely. No sign whatsoever of what might have happened to them. But unfortunately, because everybody's getting drunk and celebrating, this has kind of gotten washed over. But it's still significant to the fact that Jariah, who's the head of this archaeological dig, has brought in a security consultant, and there is now security on site. The dig site has actually been closed this entire time. It's just getting ready to open back up. And you now have a security consult named Miriam, who is basically a head of security and is implementing some security processes that people have to go through as far as checking in, where they're going to be, checkout times. You have to have a lanyard with a badge before you're allowed on site. It's a big thing. But before we get into that, we're going to go backwards. We're going to start with Saul. So you've had basically 10 days. What have you been up to in the last 10 days?
Well, Saul spent the first part of the 10 days joining in with his new dwarven friends in their revelry. He knows this is a big deal. He probably really is a big deal. He's not he's not 100% sure necessarily why it's a big deal to all of the dwarves, but he's feeding off their energy for a while and is going with it. And for like about halfway through, so what, day 5, he had this idea came to him that it was incredibly important that he needed to leave camp and head out, a couple days away. And he did that, and he knew it was very important to take a shovel with him when he went. So he went out for on a couple days journey to a spot under a grove of trees that had kind of kind of twisted and grew together, and started digging. And when he got down a foot or so of this kind of, it wasn't like super compacted earth, so it had been recently buried. um, he found a box that was about a foot by foot, and it had um, a very complex lock on it that he hasn't been able to get open. He doesn't know why this happened, but he just knew it was important and he had to do it. So he went back to camp with his box and his shovel, and he
All right.
returned the shovel.
Well, yeah. I'm
Yeah,
sure
right.
at that point they probably were being cataloged by Miriam, and you had to.
Probably. Mhm.
All right. So Rio, what has Rio been up in the last 10 days, I should say?
Well, I have 3 questions first. And I just forgot them. No. What happened to the key? Did we keep it or did it disappear?
It disappeared. You actually saw the ether cap that was like phasing around with the spider physically pull it out of the slot you put it in, and then when they disappeared, it went with them.
Okay, I just had to remember. Thank you. 2. The dwarves that disappeared, or the groups that disappeared. Do we know they disappeared? Like or were they erased from our memories?
Yeah, they disappeared. So it has also gone through camp that so and so is missing, this person's missing.
Okay.
So that's why they brought in a security consultant, because they feel like either they ran off or something happened to them. But there were no bodies. Like, they didn't find a body of someone dead. They just disappeared.
Gotcha. And then 3rd question, which is a little bit of an above the table question. So I know that in the lore of 13th Age, the icons are cyclical. There's always a Prince of Shadows, but it's not necessarily always the same person. Is that something characters know in the world?
I
The
don't
Prince of Shadows might be the bad example, because he probably lies a lot.
Yes. So my understanding, again, of the 13th Age lore, which is not complete, is that every age there is like a hero rises to those roles. There's always a crusader, there's always a diabolist. But some of the roles, like, there's not always a priestess. And there wasn't a Lich King until I think the Orc Lord killed the previous Archmage or something like that. But generally speaking, there's almost always one of these particular roles, but there's usually just the one.
So historically, would we have context that the title can change hands?
No.
Okay.
So this isn't to believe that there'll be another Prince of Shadows that rises until there's a completely new age. But who delineates exactly when the ages change and all that stuff?
So to us in the game, in this reality, this is a big hairy deal.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, no problem.
All right, so right off the rip, Rio would have joined into the revelries a little bit, mostly because he has learned over time, especially in his dealings with the Shrouded Machination, that people get a little bit talkative at parties. And this is a really good way to learn some information. So he was bouncing around from group to group. He is surprisingly charismatic for a wizard, and a human. So he was making some buddies, buying some rounds, playing some dwarf games. I would assume there'd be like some cool dwarfy feats of strength party games.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
That Rio would clearly not be able to compete at, but would make a big deal of trying, and would use his magic to heighten the way he spectacularly failed in such a way to endear himself to these dwarven buddies and make some lifelong friendships. So he bounced around for a while, for a day or two, just trying to get information, like trying to understand what the real story is. And I feel like there's probably not a whole lot of facts at this point. It's just the height of revelry.
Mhm.
So at this point, I would have returned to my tent, tried to quiet down a little bit, maybe use some of my magic to dampen the sounds a bit so I can focus. And then I would have contacted my buddy Thackeray back at the library, and this is for two reasons. One, to relay all of my research data from our last couple adventures, make sure he is keeping a good record of what I have been taking notes on, and then asking him for some outside facts about what's happening to get his take, to see, is this common knowledge in the rest of the world? What is the word on the streets? What is the word in the library? Because it is, I forget the city, but it's the home of where the Archmages, Horizon, I think. And that's, in my understanding of the rules, like a big metropolis. So trying to get information.
Okay. How are you contacting him?
Magic.
Excellent. Okay. Then I will say you have yet to receive anything back, which is actually odd. You normally it's a little quicker than that. So you're not quite at the worried stage, but you're at the he must be really busy stage, or something is wrong.
Yeah, I'm going to say we have like sending spells where we can like essentially record a message and send it off. And this is something I would use from a scroll or a ritual. It's not a spell I can cast in game mechanics, but it's something that we can convey over long distances.
And just specifically with him?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because we work together in the library, it's a thing the library lets us do as partners to function as a team. So yeah, I guess if I don't have an answer yet, I'll just kind of bum around and see what's up.
Okay. All right. And then lastly, but not leastly, of course, Daria, what have you been up to the last 10 days? You're muted.
In the last 10 days, I think that I would first she'd join in the revelry because it's fun.
I love that all three of you are like, party!
And because, she wants to make some friends in this new place a little bit. And she's really pretty good because she's been on the water and a river guide and pretty dexterous. She has kind of made it in with the dwarven groups hanging around the local tavern there. Joining in like games of skill and Jacob's Ladder and whatever they've got kind of going. Or she'll make up some kind of a balancing game on a table and they'll whoa kind of thing. And then she'd write some letters home. I think she'd send an owl or, write a scroll and send an owl back to Mistress Grithane, the head of the River Guide, the guild.
Well, I think if the Robin Hood Men in Tights movie has taught us anything, that you fox letters in this setting.
Sure. I would fox a letter, fox a scroll, a missive back to Mistress Grithane and to my mother, and maybe to Willen. Like, I'd write a little letter to Willen and like draw the big huge spider and draw the, like give it silly, funny little smack talky things. And as she's hanging with these dwarves and things, and as she's like kind of hanging out, she would probably also look for, what is the water table here? Can she be of use to that? Does it connect with something else that she would know about? Because Mistress Grithane is going to want to know. And as she's doing that and kind of exploring around, I'm sure that she'd kind of weirdly, without really even noticing it, become a little bit of a Pied Piper. If there were desert foxes or snakes or little critters running around, they'd start following her around. And she wouldn't really think anything of it because that's how it was at home. So yeah, little marmots or little, yeah.
All right. Fair enough. All right. So thank you all again for that. So we will jump into the story proper at this point. So much like what happened before, the three of you have your morning routines. As you get up and you set about them, you will meet at GOTS, which is basically the local gathering place for everybody these days. It's continuing to be built. Some of it was partially because it was destroyed during all the Dwarven revelry, but this seems to be a dig site that's going to be around for a while. And GOTS basically set up first. So that's why they're the most prominent, but they are by no means the only place in town that is trying to serve food and beverage to all the workers here. But GOTS is trying to become like the most prominent. So it's kind of like Tombstone or Deadwood. It's like a boom town. They got there first, but they're trying to build out so it becomes like an actual building, not just a bunch of tents and everything that was set up. And the three of you are having breakfast, which is actually being cooked by the actual chef this time. Saul does not have to step in this time. But Saul, you also, you have another memory that just happens to coincide with this day that seems to be very fresh in your mind, but you don't understand it because it's a very specific and short memory. It's of you looking at two books side by side that appear to be the same information, but both are written in different codes. But I don't think even Saul specifically would know this. Daria might have a little bit more insight into specifically what you're looking at because you don't know. You don't know what the books are. You can't read the code, but you have a memory of flipping through two different books. Both of them appear to be in the same hand, but written in different codes. But as of right now, you don't know why. But the three of you, we'll start with the three of you basically enjoying some noodles for breakfast once again at GOTS.
Absolutely. Noodles and playing with my fan.
Oh, yes. So as before, every time you open your fan, your little kitty cat avatar is in a different position. So far, they have never repeated, but they might be similar, like, laying on their back or stretching. But it does seem like they're unique every single time.
So, Daria's just fascinated with it.
I'm pretty tired from all this hoo-ha. You think it's finally settling down?
Saul look up from from the table and kind of look around at the other tables. Are there still, sleeping dwarves at those tables, or?
Absolutely, but maybe less so than before. And there have been like postings put around the camp that on today's day work will resume. So people had a chance to sort of like adjust their sleep schedules. Maybe a couple people stayed up all night one night so they could sleep through to the next day. Not everyone's going to handle it well, but today is the day that work is supposed to resume.
Yeah, maybe so.
I had to think. But it's weird that, so if work starts today, it's pretty weird that so many folks are gone. I thought folks may have been gone to go back and go get more provisions or equipment or whichever, but they're gone on a work day.
Yeah. I haven't seen much of what's her name? Security badges.
Miriam?
Yeah, Miriam.
That one.
That's
That
right.
one. Yeah, what's I've been busy doing some research. What's your take on this person?
I don't know. She gave me this badge. That's about what I
Do we
know.
all have badges?
Yes, all of you have been issued badges and lanyards, which you must display at all times on the work site.
Is there a security level?
You have not noticed that everyone that you've seen so far appears to be the same, but it could be color of the lanyards themselves because all of yours are the same color, but you haven't seen anyone else with a different one yet.
Oh, what is the color of our lanyard?
Oh, that's a good question. Let's say it's a solid purple color.
Okay, but everybody around us has a purple lanyard.
Yes, everyone has a purple lanyard.
It's a puzzle. I'll solve it. Is there a different number of strands that the lanyard is braided with?
You will have to take someone else's, and I fully expect you at some point to do that.
Let
Are
me
they
go prep my
magical?
charm person spell.
Is there an RFD kind of magical arcane chip in these lanyards?
Ooh! Is there a wizard's mark? Is there an arcane mark?
There are not on your badges, but that's not to say that others might not.
Weird.
Ooh.
The plot thickens.
The plot thickens.
We're gonna spend the next 2 hours investigating these damn badges.
Totally are.
So while you are questioning this, Mariam herself, who is a half elf, will come and approach your table and say, fortuitous that the three of you are here together. Jiraiya actually would like to see you.
Are these badges magic?
They are magic in that they help secure the campsite, so yes.
That's not an answer.
You know,
We'll take it.
you know that gif of Fillion with the okay. So yeah, what do we need to do? What's going on? Someone needs us?
Yeah, I need you to come with me, please. All three of you.
Okay.
All right.
I'm gonna gather up. I'm still drinking coffee from a mug. I've got a little breakfast sandwich. I'll just bring it with us.
On the way over, so I'll say, hey guys, I got something I haven't been able to get out of my head in like the past hour, which is really odd. Did you ever remember me looking through 2 books at the same time that appeared to say the same thing, but might have been written in different languages?
You mean like the books in the office?
Maybe?
Yeah, the books in the office. Was it only me that caught that?
Yep, you were the only one there at that point with Narson.
Yeah, there's I didn't want to say this out loud, and I'm gonna say it pretty quiet so that whoever our guide isn't hearing, but there's 2 sets
So
of
tell me, ma'am, what's up with this branch security? And I'm gonna strike up a really loud, distracting conversation.
There's 2 sets of books in the office. Yeah.
Why would I have been looking at them? Was the memory from like looking at me like one of those out of body experiences, or just kind of like I'm looking down at 2 sets of books that say different things?
Yeah, so basically you see a hand, which
got it.
Honestly may or may not be your own, flipping pages. A hand flipping pages.
POV. So what's up with the security protocol? I've been around to a lot of different dig sites and stuff, and it's never really been this bad. So how is this supposed to? Is it keep us safe? Is this just keeping track of who's where, or what's going on with all this?
Both, of course. Your safety is of utmost importance here, but also the campsite itself, the dig site, I should say. By making sure that everyone has a lanyard and everybody has a lanyard on them, we will be able to easily identify who is who, where they are, and if they are supposed to be there or not. And then if someone goes missing, then we'll be able to identify that as well.
So has there been an issue with outsiders or unallowed people?
I'm not at liberty to discuss that with you at this time.
Does Miriam have a lanyard? And
of course,
what color
yes.
is it?
Miriam has a lanyard. Her strand is actually a different color. Hers is red.
Ooh.
I want to change its color with prestidigitation and make it purple.
All right. So how is that going to? I mean, I'm assuming there's a way to do this without being noticed, but it's going to be difficult.
I'm not necessarily trying to be stealthy about it.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Because I get what she's saying, and I know she's doing her job, but she's kind of being snitty about it. So I'm like,
yes, and I will be clear. None of you have been impressed so far with Miriam.
So I'm gonna cough really hard and just like cough the magic.
Gotcha.
And her lanyard's just gonna change from red to purple.
All right. Roll me a d20.
Like
this is not for success. This is just for my own benefit.
I rolled a 14.
God, I wish I could guidance that.
All right. So your spell works as intended, and the three of you probably, you may not notice it right away, but Rio, you certainly would, that the color of her lanyard shifts to match the same color purple that you have.
Excuse me. Must have gone down the wrong pipe as we were walking and talking here. Well,
Bless you there. Bless you.
thank you. Yeah, right there. Perfect. Thank you. Miriam, thank you for your vigilance, I guess I could say.
Of course, and thank you for yours, because it's only when we work together that we will see success. As they say, teamwork makes the dream work.
I quit. I'm
You
done.
did work here, but yeah.
And then there's like a moment where she sort of turns her head, like, I need to write that down. I could be like a poster.
I assume our best practice going forward is if we happen to observe something, we should speak up and share it.
Yes. If you see something, you should definitely report it.
I feel like there's a better way to say that. It can roll off the tongue a smidge better.
But I don't want to get too cutesy with these things because people don't take them serious. Okay, this is very, very serious. So if you see something,
do something.
Report it. In fact, don't do something. It's observe and report, not action. Only security personnel are authorized for action.
Should we? I just want to be clear. We are not security personnel, right?
No. Only security personnel have this color badge, and that's when Marion will hold it up and look down, and just this like look of confusion will cross her face. And then she will tuck hers into her shirt and call the guards. The red.
So we are security personnel.
No, the red ones. Only the red ones.
You are security. This is. Oh, I feel secure now. I mean, that's pretty good.
No, only the red ones.
This isn't red.
No, because you're not security. I am security, and they will pull out a different lanyard and put it around their neck. See,
I don't
red
think she
ones.
knows what color red is.
Red.
Colorblind.
Colorblindness is a problem in this day and age.
Mm.
So, point of order question. Out of game here. Are there other security personnel bouncing around?
Funnily enough, no. You have seen no one else that has been identified as security other than Miriam.
So, Miriam, I forgive me for asking so many questions on this normally very short and quick walk. But
we're taking the long way today, clearly.
Yes, getting our steps in, as the kids say. Who is your support over the past few days here? I can't recall I've seen you working with anyone. Are there security personnel I can reach out to if something were to occur?
I'm not at liberty to say, but if you see someone with a red lanyard, you can report to them.
So they're secret, but if we see them, then they won't be secret, and we should report to them.
Correct.
Fantastic.
Is there a verbal pattern we can exchange with individuals to know if they are part of the security team?
A secret word code.
If they have a red lanyard, they are part of the security team.
So there's people all around us at this point, right?
Yes.
Okay. And everyone has a purple lanyard.
Correct.
All right. I want to magic some random dude's lanyard to be red.
Okay.
Like, oh, that guy.
And so Miriam will just like come to a dead stop. You there, come here. Literally rip the lanyard off of them. Where did you get this?
Oh, you're security.
No, this person's not security.
Sorry,
this is a serious. You need to report to the security tent, which there is one, for a debrief because you, mister, have been messing around, and I don't appreciate it. And with that, Miriam will actually point to the tent of Jiraiya, which is right in front of you. I hope you can see yourself the rest of the way there. And she's going to like take this person by the ear and lead them off.
Nice to meet you, double security team. Crack security. I have full trust in you both. Have a good day.
I feel so bad, but that was hilarious.
So as you make your way into Jiraiya's tent, which you've been to many times at this point, you once again see Jiraiya, who again is a dwarf, but is on a bit of the slight side for a dwarf, with a lot of kind of loose skin, as if maybe they have lost a lot of weight recently. Again, they have no arm on their left arm from the elbow down. It has been amputated of some sort, but there is a magical prosthesis there in placement, but it does not make an actual hand. It's like a series of tools, almost like a Swiss Army knife of sorts. They can use various tools. They are once again holding a notebook, which Jirai is just racingly writing notes down as you walk in. Narvzen is there as well, who's the second in command of the 10, is a female tiefling with a reddish purplish hue. And Saul, you would notice that she is carrying 2 thick bound books that look very similar to the memory you have, but you would never mistake her hands for your own. So definitely it was not Narvson that you saw flipping through these books, even though she is the one that is currently holding them. And then there's another lady that none of you have ever seen before, though actually when we strike that, Rio and Daria, you definitely have never seen before. Saul, you might. It is a female elf who is wearing bright gold, like inlaid armor with a giant shield with an image of the great gold worm on it. As you enter, she rises from this cot, comes over, and embraces you.
Saul will return the embrace.
She'll step
It's great
back.
to see you.
So the question, do you actually know who this is? Because Brad should. I'm not
Brad
sure
does.
if Saul does.
High or low, maybe?
Sure.
I'm gonna go even.
Whew. Bold, but also not correct this time. So the woman will come back. She'll bring up her hands and sort of cup your face. Saul, it is so nice. Actually, what is your full name? It's Saul's your short name. What she would call you?
Saladin. Saladin Krisdark.
She will look into your eyes, and there's a hint of sadness that crosses it, because she is definitely picking up that you don't really know who she is. It is wonderful to see you again, my friend. And then she'll lean in and give you a kiss on each cheek. We must talk. And then she's going to sort of lead you to the back, and you'll sit sort of off stage, and we'll come back to you in a minute. Okay. So quickly, Rio, Daria, any reactions to this?
Mostly surprise. I think it happened so fast.
Yeah. I mean, another mystery. Don't change her lanyard.
Do they have lanyards?
She actually does not have a lanyard, but Jorah and Narvson do, but theirs are black.
Ooh. Well, that's a fancy lanyard. Narvson, what does black mean?
Yeah, she like rolls her eyes so hard you can hear them. Yes, this is Mariam. Everyone gets a lanyard. There apparently is some sort of color coding that I don't understand.
Who hired her? This is malarkey. This is crazy.
You can see the eye roll, but she says, "We are taking security very seriously, and we have hired Mariam to implement security controls, and we will comply with all of them." And then very quietly under her breath, she'll say, "As stupid as they may be." And you're not sure if you were supposed to hear that or not.
Yeah. She looks like the type that would point with 2 fingers. Corporate point.
Yeah.
Kind of person, yes, kind of person.
So,
Anyway, what can we do you for?
Actually, I don't specifically know. Jiraiya is the one who wanted to see Rio, actually. At that point, Jiraiya is still furiously taking notes. Well, like, big, exaggerated period. Oh, look up. Oh, sorry, I didn't even see you there. Wait, Rio, yes, I have something for you. He flips through his books back and forth. He'll put that notebook in a pocket, pull out a different notebook. He starts flipping through it. Yes, see pocket. He puts that in a pocket. He goes to a different pocket, pulls out a slip of paper, unrolls it, and goes, "Oh, yes, you have been fired."
I don't think you ever employed me.
Technically, no, but I guess it'd be better to say that you are no longer allowed to contribute to the unearthing of artifacts within this dig site.
Oh, okay. Why?
Why? Why? Good question. I don't actually have the why. I was just told that you're no longer allowed to participate.
I want to shoot a look over to. Damn it! I'm so bad with names. What was the tiefling's name?
Narvson.
Narvson. Because I know she's kind of the brains of everything.
Seems to be. And she'll give you a look of like a shoulders like, I'm not, like she's confused as well. But then Jiraiya will turn over. Oh, yes, here we go. We received a note from Wingulf Kragan, and they have basically revoked your permission to be here from your organization. I don't quite understand it, but from the channels I got it, I cannot argue with them. So I'm afraid you're no longer allowed to work within the campsite.
So as soon as he said that name, just imagine the worst coworker you've ever had in the office. Imagine that person who is such a stickler for email protocol and grammar and the rules, and who gets on your ass about like shitty punctuation. Well, I completely understand. I certainly hope that I have been helpful to you and the site in the time that I have been allowed to be here. It has been an absolute pleasure. If anything changes, I would love to return if that invitation would ever be offered. It's been great working and knowing you and everyone here. I appreciate everything you've done for me so far.
Jiraiya looks up from his notebook. Oh, yes, sure, great. Mm-hmm. And we'll go back to writing stuff in the notebook. All right. So, Daria.
Yes.
No one has addressed you as of yet, so.
Yeah. When we all came to the dig, did we come because of Rio's job?
No. Each of you sort of came separately, and you just sort of fell in together because of your shared history in the past. Okay. If I recall correctly, Daria, you actually just came hoping to be able to do some work here, but you didn't have a specific job you were after. And then because you kind of fell in with Rio, you just sort of kind of kept doing that. But you came originally to try to offer your services as a river guide because you knew that they were bringing supplies downriver. And you also had learned in this time that some of those supply shipments had gone missing. It's like every third one, but it wasn't on that pattern. But it's like basically every one out of every three seems to have gone missing with no, as of yet, explanation. At that point, actually, Darvson will step forward. He goes, actually, that does bring me to this. Daria, we would ask if you would be willing to actually to accompany our next shipment. As I'm sure you're aware, we've had trouble with some of them going missing, and we would like for you to go upriver with our supply chain to, damn it, there's a name, and I looked it up just today, to a place that will be named later to bring our next shipment down because we're hoping that with your expertise, you might be able to navigate the river. We're still not sure why they're going missing, but we're hoping that you would look into that.
You know, I'd love to do that. Yeah, absolutely will. Love to do that. But you see, I can't do that without my arcane cartographer. And that's Rio.
Well, my understanding is
I'd like to hire him, for my own employee.
No, as far as we're aware, he's not allowed to work at the dig site uncovering antiquities, but he's welcome to participate in that avenue. He's basically not allowed to look for stuff underground. It's very weird. I don't quite understand it either. This Weingolf person was very specific in what he was and was not allowed to do within the confines of the dig site.
Gotcha. Please express my intense gratitude to Weingulp, she says sarcastically. Oh, that's fine for now. I'm sure that's some kind of a weird glitch in maybe paperwork or arcane communications triplicate addendums, protocol something.
Oh no, he's just an ass.
What?
No, he's just an ass.
Or that thing right there was being political. It's being politically correct.
He's not here. He can't hear me.
Oh wait, and he just steps from behind.
I'll just punch him in the mouth.
No, so yeah, Weingolf is not currently here, but he's definitely interloped. So for the moment, Daria and Rio, you have an assignment. There's a group of people, workers, will be traveling upriver to the name of the thing that is escaping me that I will look up shortly and tell you, where you will get the next set of shipment, and then you will basically make your way back down with the supplies. If in Rio, you're obviously welcome to do this or not. You don't have to, but it would allow you to, play the game. But so I'll let you two think about this for a moment. I'm going to jump over to Saul, as Saul is currently sitting with this woman who he does not remember, and you are having a very quiet conversation. So this is Morena. Or I think is it Morena? You're the one that told me your name. So is it Morena or Marina?
Yes, Marina.
Marina, sorry. All right.
No.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I said, no, that's fine.
Okay.
No worries.
So she is taking you over to like a side table. It's still within the tent. So Daria and Rhea, you could both see what's happening. If you wanted to try to overhear, eavesdrop, you probably could. But some of this is basically backwards in time from what the conversations we just had. And she sort of sighs heavily. It is so great to see you, but I can also see that you're not exactly sure who I am.
I'm sorry, but I can't lie to you. I don't.
I would never lie to you either. I would not expect anything less from you. I thought you were seeking help for your condition.
Yes? Yes seems like a good answer here. Yes.
But
how do I know you? Or did I know you? I'm not quite sure how that works yet.
Wow. That's a big question to ask directly here in this situation. So I'm just going to say that there's...
We can come back to that later.
Well, and I think you're playing this well. You're playing someone who has memories. They're Swiss cheese brain and has false memories. But to ask this question to her, she will... There's just like a sadness that just plays across her face. And she says, we used to be close a long time ago.
Oh.
And you kind of recall the way she embraced you and then cupped your chin in her hands. It definitely comes across as a very familiar relationship, more than possibly just platonic friendship.
Wow, I'm sorry. I would have handled that entirely differently. So what brings you here? Apart from trying to, solve this thing.
I was on my way somewhere else when I had learned that you were in camp. And it's been some time since we'd seen one another, and I wanted to take the moment to catch up and see how you're doing. You look well.
I am well. It's been great. We've been doing a lot of good work here on the dig. We've found ruins and things and spiders and not spiders. They tried to kill us, but as you would expect, we handled them well.
You were one always to find trouble and excitement, which is one of the things I liked most about you.
Everywhere. I don't seek it out normally,
You never did.
unless I do. So how have you been? Tell me about yourself and what you've been up to.
Uh, the good fight, continuing the work is, well, I would say but I don't know that you do. But I still follow the way of the great gold worm.
That's good. How are the rest? How is everyone else?
And she kind of smiles because she feels like she knows you're just trying to make an effort here. That our ranks are thinner than they were, but we are still close as a unit. And I'm actually on my way to Forge and to I can't think of it, to, oh my God, words escaping, to prove something, to verify. That's, God, man, brain fart. On my way to Forge to verify the claims that the Prince of Shadows has been executed.
We heard about that. You know what? You should have been here like 10 days ago. There was like the most epic party that we have. It was pretty big. I mean,
there has been celebrations throughout the land, but it's not the first time that some have claimed to kill the prince. And until we can verify it for our own, we are going to assume that the prince is still playing their games. Though there has been a lack of evidence, because generally speaking, when someone claims to have killed the Prince of Shadows, very soon the prince will show up and make it known that's not the case. And so far, that's not happened. You said 10 days ago. The word has spread probably closer to 2 weeks that this happened. So I guess it just got to your camp a week ago.
Yeah, we're kind of out there away. So what can I do to contribute?
Well, if you wish to, I could join the company. Perhaps some of your memories might return on the journey.
Maybe I you know what? I'll need to talk to my companions to make sure that there's nothing important that we needed to do. We were exploring this large dig down there. Things happened that we might have some loose ends we need to tie up, but I will check with them, and as long as they don't need me, I will do that, because that sounds like a good idea.
She'll stand, you can stand with her, and she will once again give you a brace, but this one's a little less familiar. It's a little bit more perfunctory. But I would enjoy spending more time with you, and if you are willing to travel with me, I would certainly appreciate it. And then at that point, she'll kind of turn and sort of bring everybody into that, that way a host will bring everyone into a conversation. And actually, I believe that your friends are headed in that same direction, because the word I couldn't remember earlier was in fact Forge. Yes, that is where the supplies are coming from. So you would be traveling in that direction as well to get the next supply. So if you'd all like to travel together, then Morana would definitely like to go with you.
I am a free agent at this point, so I'll look over to Daria. You're the boss.
Ha! Oh, I am. Ha! That's weird and fun. But okay, all right. And we don't need lanyards where we're going.
And no, Mariam will confiscate your lanyards before you leave, because you're not allowed to have these unless you are on site. But you will then be reissued new lanyards when you return.
That's very secure. That's very, don't let me keep any identification on me.
Okay. Miriam, did they give you a lanyard?
No, I actually did not get. I was escorted here by the security chief.
But she didn't give you a lanyard.
No, she said something about not having a 1-day admissions color sequenced yet.
Yeah, no single park tickets today.
I see.
I'm okay. Well, then, I'm Daria. Hi.
All right. So she will shake your hand, and I mean, she appears very elegant, certainly very beautiful, maybe in the latter years for an elf, but still very vibrant. Again, decked in like plate armor with gold inlays. There's great gold worm iconography all throughout her armor, and especially on her shield. So she definitely carries herself as a warrior.
Oh. Are you family? Are you?
She actually will throw a glance over at Saul. No, we are not family.
Saul gives you that kind of that look, like the raised eyebrow look that says, "I have no idea."
I'm trying.
Well, I think it would be safe to say that if we have a voyage ahead of us, we should probably head off to the ship, check it out, make sure it's river worthy and we are ready, and perhaps we can chat a little bit more along the way.
Oh,
Sure.
we're going on a boat?
So actually, you're not going on a boat. You will be hiking upriver and then sailing downriver with supplies. Unfortunately, they don't have any way to go upriver yet. So it'll be probably like a 2-week hike upriver, and then from the river up towards towards Forge, which again is like the home base of the Dwarven king, and the majority of the dwarves live there.
So-
Acquisition slips, itinerary list, supply list. I can check off anything.
So the majority of that will be handled. This is something that happens pretty frequently. There's multiple crews that, basically are on a cycle of hiking up, getting new supplies, and coming down the river. Unfortunately, some of them are going missing. So your expertise is in the travel back, making sure that they're, basically they're not getting lost, sunk, and then also just extra muscle if there is some nefarious reason why they are not happening, that you will be there to help prevent.
Extra protection sigils, per diem salary.
Yeah, you will be compensated for the work.
I'm sure spell components are at our own expense.
Yeah, pretty much any of that. But she will get you set up on everything you need to know. But as you are about to leave, so Morena will once again give Saul a look. Would you mind joining me for dinner this evening? I have a tent just outside of camp. I can have food brought.
Sure, that sounds great.
Oh, lovely.
I love dinner.
I look forward to seeing you then. And then with, she'll give everyone else a nod. She'll heft her shield. And then just with this almost regal bearing, see herself out of camp.